Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to another episode of the Disney Plus project. So we had a chance to watch the new Mulan movie finally. Yes. I ended up watching it last week, actually, just because I was in the mood for it, and Anna ended up watching it then today. And I actually watched bits of it while she was watching it. So that is what we're going to talk about today. But before we do that, make sure if you are not subscribed to the channel, you hit that subscribe button down below. Leave us a like and a comment as well, and let us know what other movies we should watch on Disney Plus. So, what did you think of the movie overall?
It was good.
Overall, you thought it was good?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I did too. I actually really liked it overall, as a whole thing. I was talking to, I think it was actually right after I watched it, because I watched it on my breaks and my lunch at work that day. And I was talking to one of my coworkers about it after I'd finished it. And I told him that I'd finished it, and he was asking about it, and I was like, I like the story of this one better than the animated one. I still really like the animated one, but for me, I liked the story better in this one. And while they still didn't do a very good job following the original legend, but I mean, the problem is the original legend has a few different versions.
Yes, which they even mentioned that too.
Yeah, and, I only have ever researched one version, and that guy that I was talking to, he's also really smart, and he said there's actually only one province in China that actually even acknowledges Mulan's existence, and it's the province that she was originally from.
Right.
And so, but even in that province, there's a few different versions, and so I don't know how accurate it is to any of them, but the one that I researched, it wasn't super accurate,
right,
from what I recall. But, I did like how they threw in a lot of stuff from the animated version.
Yeah, there was lots of nods to it, and that was
a lot of them. There may not have been music, but you will recognize a lot of the lines because the general at one point uses one of the lines from "I'll Make a Man Out of You." Actually, he uses a couple of them.
Yep.
Because at one point at the beginning of their training, he says, I'm going to make you into men," or something like that.
Yeah, and then they also reference the as swift as a coursing river. He
talks about it tranquil as a forest.
Yes, that's
but a fire within. He talks about that part. And, yeah.
And they also do, when they're all sitting there, I think they're all eating. They reference the song about the women.
Oh yeah, Fudge. yeah. Because then, and Poe was talking about, I couldn't care less what she looks like. I just care about what she cooks like. Yeah.
Yeah, they reference they all reference their own lines in that.
Yeah, it's really funny.
It's really funny. Yeah, I like that part.
And were you upset at all that they didn't have Mushu in it?
I don't think it distracted from the movie. I mean, Mushu was a great character because the animated was a lot more lighthearted.
Yeah, and he was just in there for comic relief. Right,
and this isn't. This isn't a lighthearted movie.
It is very much a drama.
I feel like Mushu would have distracted from it.
Yeah.
I don't think that it would have added anything to the movie. I think it would have distracted from the movie. And so,
Plus, they also had something in there that was essentially like Mushu, because Mushu is just a guide. That was his whole purpose.
Yes, and
so they had the Phoenix.
Yeah, I don't know that that's one way or the other. I think that just people were upset because Mushu is the comic relief, but this isn't a lighthearted movie. No. This is very
And they also use everyone as comic relief in this. They all say funny lines at different points, and so there's not just one person who's comic relief, and that's what I think a lot of movies have gotten into, especially more recently, is that they have these slightly more serious movies, and then you have just the one specific person that their entire job is comic relief. And it's why can't you spread that out? Right. Make everybody serious, but also give them funny lines. Yeah. And I think that this movie did a good job at that.
Yeah, I liked it well enough without Mushu. I don't think that, like I said, I don't think that he would have added to the movie. I think he would have distracted from it. So I think
so too.
It's actually probably a good choice. They didn't put him in there.
Yeah, they did put Cricket in. Not as a cricket.
His name wasn't Cricket in the animated movie. It was Cricky.
Well, they called him Creaky. The only person they called him Cricket was Grandmama.
Yes.
I don't know why I said Grandmama. That's what they call her. At one point.
I don't know.
But the Cricket is not an actual cricket. He is a person who they call Cricket. He is called Cricket, I guess, by his family, and apparently his family calls him Cricket because he is lucky.
It was like he was like born on like a certain moon or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And it made him lucky.
Mm-hmm. And so, it shows different things of him doing things that's just out of sheer luck. Like he hits a bullseye at one point during the training with his eyes closed because he goes to shoot, and everybody's all ready and everybody else is already released, and he just closes his eyes and it's like, because it's almost like he's scared to shoot, and he closes his eyes and it hits right in the bullseye. Mm-hmm. But I think one scene, and I pointed this out as she was watching it, the one scene that I think was a lot better for me was the avalanche scene, because they also put the avalanche scene in this version. And in the original version, it's Mulan going, they only have one cannon left, and it's Mulan going, oh, I could launch this cannon up into that mountain and cause an avalanche, and then she runs up, takes it, and does it, but it doesn't really show like, yeah, it's not really strategic, it's just kind of, oh, hey, here's an opportunity, whereas in this version, she instead realizes that there's really no chance for them, and they don't have cannons. They're using just trebuchets and things like that. And
which is more accurate.
Yeah, those cannons would not be accurate. They would not have been. And that's one of the reasons that was slightly would not happen in the original.
Yeah.
But she then runs and grabs a whole bunch of helmets and runs around behind the enemy lines, and she puts all the helmets up on the rocks and then starts shooting at them. And she's not actually like aiming for them. She aims like at one of the trebuchets, I think, at first.
Yeah, the first.
But she's mostly just shooting at them to get their attention, to try to get them to turn around and cause the avalanche themselves. And it's like, that just showed...
Because they had like a... What's that? Catapult.
It's a trebuchet. But she gets them to turn around and start launching the trebuchets up into the mountains themselves, causing the avalanche themselves. And so, but it's like, that just shows her strategic mind, because in the legend she was extremely brilliant, and she ended up being a general because of how brilliant she was as a strategist. And it's like, things like that, she figured out that she could take that type of thing, use it as a distraction, and get them to turn around and start shooting at her to cause the thing to destroy themselves. Like, that's really quick thinking.
Yes.
On her part. But no, I really liked this movie. I really did.
So, I know you told me to finish watching the movie and that I might change my mind.
Oh.
But...
The magic thing?
I really don't like that. Mm-hmm. Like, that is just, like... I get, like, the chi and the idea of that stuff, and, like, that I'm cool with. Mm-hmm. But the whole, like, she turns into a hawk and lots of little birds, and she morphs into these people. Mm-hmm. I just was not...
She's a witch.
No, because that's... I don't care about that. That's not like it doesn't fit, and it feels like it was just like they felt like they had to add something to explain things. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they really needed to. Like, it was things like, how did they do this? And like, I don't think they needed that kind of explanation. I think that they could have gone with the simple like he's going to meet you over so-and-so place, and so then the emperor goes off. Like, I just don't think that it needed, like, some magical explanation. And that's, I agree. I don't change my mind about that. Like, I don't think it needed that. Yeah. I think I don't know, it just... It's the one thing I don't like about it. I don't think it needed that explanation for things. I think that like... the original movie did a better job of that. Like, I know, like, they had Mushu, which was supposed to be, like, the magical aspect of it. But the fact that in the original animated, the bad guy was just that. He was a really bad guy. And he did things with brute force and some intelligence. It's not like he was a complete idiot.
Oh, no.
You know...
That's how he was able to get over the Great Wall.
Right. And I think that that's really how they should have approached this one, too. I don't think adding that magic element did anything for it.
One thing that I noticed about this one is in the original one, when they find out that she's a woman, is when she gets injured on the Battle of the Mountain, because Shan Yu slashes her with his sword. And then she gets taken care of by the doctor, and Shang goes in, and she starts to get up, and he can see that she's a woman. Whereas in this one, she literally just shows back up as a woman.
Yeah.
And is just like, yo! Like,
yeah.
Which is exactly how Mulan would have done it, especially the way they developed her character in this one. That's exactly what she would have done. Yeah. Just show up and been like, yo, it's me.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what she did. And she knew that she messed up in doing what she did, and so she submitted herself to it.
Yeah.
But she was like, she wasn't going to hide it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so, but I just think it was better to have her just show back up and actually willingly show them. Mm-hmm. And like it did more to develop her character.
Yeah.
Than just
like an injury.
Shang accidentally finding out. And,
I know there were several moments where I thought that like that was what was going to happen, was that somebody was going to accidentally find out. Mm-hmm. But yeah, but I knew it wasn't going to, because that would ruin the whole end of the movie. So like
yeah,
but
yeah, I kind of noticed that too. I also thought that the general was going to call her on her bull right when she first showed up, and she said what her name was. Because did you see the way that he looked at her when she was like, I'm Hua Jun, son of Hua Zhou, and he just looks at her for a second,
like,
and I was like,
I know him.
yeah, and mentions that he knows or knew her father, and I was like, is he gonna be one of those ones that then goes, he only has 2 daughters? Mm-hmm. You know, like that's what I thought was gonna happen. I was just like, oh, that would be strange and a really short movie.
But they only knew each other, I think, during battle. So so I don't think he would have known whether or not.
I don't think so. But that's just like kind of the look that he had. Yeah, that I was like, what? Does he just know and is ignoring it? No. Like,
because you can see that like when she shows herself that he didn't know. So
yeah, and I also thought that the action scenes, like the battle scenes were shot really well.
Yeah.
I thought the cinematography was really good on, because I pay attention to things like that. She doesn't.
I'm not real into action-y stuff, so like...
Well, I just pay attention to cinematography and how the scenes are shot and put together, like the angles that they use and stuff. But I think it was really well done, especially during the battle scenes. I think they did a good job. But so, is this a movie you would watch again?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah, me too.
I'd watch it even more if they cut the magic lady out. Do you think I could convince them to do a cut where there's no magic lady?
No. I've looked at a couple of reviews, and then I was listening to the TTA podcast earlier, and they were talking about it, and the reviews have been largely negative, but also really mixed.
Yeah, I could see that.
But there's also not been much in the way of a review, and so that's what Rob was talking about. He was like, is that because Disney really screwed the pooch, and they were like, oh, we're going to release this as a premiere for $30, you get access to it until we fully release it, and then like a week or 2 before they release it, they're like, oh, by the way, we're going to release it for free for everybody with Disney Plus in December, or in 3 months.
Right.
So it's like, I think they really screwed the pooch on that, because there was a huge amount of people that were like, well, then I'm not paying $30, so I'm just going to get it for free in 3 months.
But think of it this way, is when they release something in theaters, mm-hmm. you can almost count on when that's going to release to DVD or streaming or whatever that might be.
Yeah.
So it's not like that's really any different than if it was a theatrical release.
I think the difference being that they're charging this premium price, and then like I think it really was the fact that they didn't wait until it had released
to say.
I think they should have waited until the release day, or like it had been out for a week, to say, hey, it's going to be available for free in December, because like even putting it in the theaters, like I don't know.
But you know that if they had done that, if they had released it for premium, and then a couple weeks or even a month later said, hey, in December, you know, people who paid that premium price would have been pissed because they would have rather waited till December. So, like, I don't think they would have won either way. Mm-hmm. And I actually kind of like that they were honest about it and said, mm-hmm. hey, like, we're going to release this now for $30. You don't want to pay the $30? Wait a few months.
I think that what would have ended up happening is that, yes, some people would have gotten mad about, oh, well, I wouldn't have paid $30, and then Disney would have been like, then you could have just waited. Because everybody knew that it was going to be available for free on Disney Plus at some point.
Oh, yeah.
It was never going to be, you have to pay $30 for this in order to watch it. It was going to be available. Disney had already said that.
Right.
And so at that point, Disney would have been like, well, then why'd you spend the $30? You could have just waited.
But
Did you really need to see it day one?
But I think it's a difference in, like, okay, in a couple months it's going to be released for free versus what if it was free in 6 months? Like, we didn't have a timeline at first. So there's a lot of people who are like, well, I don't know when it could be released, so I'm not going to wait. But by them being upfront and honest, like, it's like they could make that decision now. Like, for us, we wanted to watch it, so we put in that $30. Yep. But for people who don't want to spend the $30, they know when it's coming and they know what to expect. I like that, honestly. I think it's more honest and it makes it easier. Like, I wish they would do that with more movies. Like, what was one of the other ones that released, like, for the digital rental?
Trolls World Tour?
Sure. So, like that, like, for us, it was like...
Didn't do well, but...
It didn't do well. But, you know, like, for us, it was like, yeah, we want to see that, but... Is it something we want to pay money for? Maybe not, but when is it going to come out? So, like, those were, like, those conversations, like, is it going to release in 6 months for streaming or DVD or whatever? So, like, is that really how long we want to wait? But them being upfront and honest about it, saying, like, here's your timeline. You can buy it now, or you could wait a couple months. And I don't know. I think that's more honest, and I like that better.
Well, it's also just, this whole thing was just Disney dipping their toes into the water and testing out doing an immediate video on demand release would do. Like, how is it going to do? Are we going to be able to actually, like, move a movie like this?
Yeah, and they decided it wasn't worth it.
I mean, maybe, but it's also, they chose a bad movie to do that with.
Because there was
so much controversy surrounding it anyway.
That's true.
That I think that was a bad choice to start with that one.
That's true.
They should have started with a different one. But anyway, so yeah, we both really liked that movie. Yeah. I thought it was really done. I do think it did justice to the original movie. Yes. In a lot of ways.
I don't think it butchered it.
I do not think it butchered it at all.
It's two separate entities, I think, is really what it is.
And for people to say, oh, I don't want to watch because there's no music. There's really no place for the music, and there's really no place for Mushu.
It wouldn't have made sense, no.
And that's people's biggest gripes about it that haven't seen it. They don't want to see it because it doesn't have music and it doesn't have Mushu, and there's really no place for it.
I was going to say, it wouldn't have made sense.
But it didn't take anything away from it, so it was really good. I really like it, and I will definitely be watching it again. Yeah. Probably a lot.
Absolutely.
So, anyway, what should we watch next week?
Oh, shoot. Have we not
Animal
picked?
Kingdom?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have picked.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we didn't. We have a list.
Nope.
Still?
Nope.
Oh.
We had not made a list.
That's a thing. Well, let's see.
Okay, so next week we will do The Secret Society of Second-Born Royals.
Yes.
That's a newer one on Disney Plus, and it looks very fascinating, and so...
Yeah, I actually watched, like, a trailer of it on TikTok, and...
Yeah.
And it actually looked kind of interesting. Like, the trailer, or the, like, picture and the description don't look that great on Disney Plus, but, like, the trailer
makes it look good.
Yeah,
okay.
So
yeah, we'll do that next week, and then after that we will do The Magic of Disney's Animal Kingdom, which we're both super excited about.
Because Disney and animals.
Yes, exactly. And then after that, we will do Gordon Ramsay Uncharted.
Because Gordon Ramsay,
and also because I'm really into cooking, and so I find all his stuff fascinating right now.
Oh, I'm not even into cooking.
I know, you just like Gordon Ramsay.
I think he's hilarious, and I like when he yells at people.
So yeah, that's what we're going to do over the next 3 weeks. So, thank you all for joining us this week, and we hope to see you all again next week. As always, don't forget
to thank the Phoenicians.